class 7. We are starting with the section 3 of your English book, and it's a poem written by Humayun Kabir. The spelling you must know: Humayunkabir, Humayun Kabir. So Humayun Zahiruddin Amir Kabir, or in short form Humayun Kabir, was born in 1906 and died in 1969. He was an Indian educationist, politician, writer and philosopher. So let us read about this poem. And this poem is about a little child who is sitting by his window and watching the trains go by near his house, and he is fascinated by these trains. उनसे वो एकदम चमत्कृत हो जाता है कि ये हैं क्या. So let's read about the poem, right? So first we'll read the poem. Mother, I sit by my window for hours on end. The poet says that the little child, might be it is he himself when he was a child, and he sits by the window, beside the window, for hours and hours together, like for a long time, and watch the long trains rumble past. And by his window, he sees the trains going by, which are rumbling past. Rumble means making a continuous, deep, resonant sound, right? So, making a constant, deep, and resonant sound. So rumble, like clouds rumble, जैसे हमारे घटाओं में गड़गड़ाते हैं ना बादल, उस तरह से. He watches these long trains who are rumbling past. Children are very much fascinated by trains, as you know. Even now, when we see trains, and we see them with a kind of delight. Some are dark and journey tediously. Some of the trains which he sees, they are dark, black in color, and they journey very slowly. Tediously means going very tiresomely. बहुत ही धीरे धीरे चलती हैं. No doors, no window, no shining lamps. उसमें ना दरवाजे हैं, ना खिड़कियाँ हैं, ना there are some lights which are shining in them. They move like huge elephants. And how they move? It seems as if they are huge elephants that move like shadows in the shadowy dark. Sometimes when you see the animals going by, then they make they look like shadows in the darkness of the night. Sometimes a train comes flashing past. Sometimes a train comes at great speed with the lights on, right? So that it looks as if a flash has gone by, with many windows lit by many lamps. It is a fast train with lots of windows in them, and there are so many lights which are on. It must be a passenger train. And the first ones, which have no doors, no windows, no lamps, they must be goods train. The trains which carry goods from one place to another. And passenger trains are those which carry passengers from one place to another. That dance and whirl with movement swift. And these lamps, these shadows, because they move very fast, so it seems as if they are they are moving round and round. Whirling means moving round and round with very fast movements. Swift means fast. A marriage procession with music loud. So it's a metaphor, right? It seems as if it's like a marriage procession, barat, with loud music playing, because the trains make a loud sound also when they go, rhythmic sound of the wheels. Shrill whistles that rise above the din, and they whistle sharply, which rise above the loud noise which the wheels are making. In between, the trains whistle, and the whistles are very sharp, of the rhythmic beat of wheels revolving fast. And what is the loud noise, the din which is being made? It is the beat of the musical beat of the wheels, which are going round and round. Revolving means going round and round very fastly. On hot afternoons you go to sleep, and with dizzy heat swoons all the world. As he says, the child says to his mother, then in the summer afternoons when everyone goes to sleep along with his mother, because the heat gives you a kind of a nap, and people as if they become unconscious with sleep, and the entire world also goes to sleep because of the heat. Even the crows doze and forget to caw. Even the black crows, they doze means they take a nap and they forget to do caw caw. The dog lies in the shade with hanging tongue, and the dog also feels very hot, so he just hides in some shade, and his tongue hangs out. The dogs hang their tongues so that they feel cool. So in those time also, what does the poet does? What does this boy does? I watch for hours and still the tireless trains march on and on along their iron road. He says that I still watch these trains for a long time, who are never tiring. These trains keep on going. They keep on marching on their iron road. What kind of road the trains walk on? On the iron. Iron road means जो पटरियाँ हैं उसकी. Sometimes at night in my sleep I hear, the poet says, that he's so much fascinated by the trains that at night when he sleeps, even then he hears the low distant rumble of the train, the low noise of that slow noise of the train, the rumbling noise of the train. I rub my eyes and sit upon my bed, and at that time when he hears that sound, the child sits up in his bed and rubs his eyes, and beneath the light of the flickering moon moves a long shadowy outline far away, like a huge serpent crawling through the night. So he says that then he gets up and goes to the window, and beneath the light of the twinkling moon or the stars, the unsteady light of the moon, what does he see? He sees the long shadowy outline of the train which is going far away, like a huge serpent, like a huge snake which is crawling through the night, which is going in a zigzag movement to the night. So that means here he has used the word like. Like is used where the figure of speech simile is used, simile. Remember, wherever the word like is there, it is simile, and when there is no like, one thing is compared to another, then it is a metaphor, metaphor. Where do all these trains go day and night? Now the child is thinking, all these trains are moving day and night, and where are they going? You say they bore their way through the hills. You tell me that they make their way through the hills by boring through them. Boring means usme to make a hole. And but that doesn't happen. Actually, there are already these rail lines are laid through by they make ways into the hills, and like when the train goes into it, it becomes dark and the lights are on at that time. Tunnels are being made. If you ever go to Simla, you'll find 101 tunnels which were built during the British time, and this train is still working and people do like to sit on them. They roar over bridges across mighty streams. And where do these trains go? They go over bridges, and which are laid across very mighty strong rivers, mighty streams, strong rivers. They crash through forests and vast plains, and they also go through the forests and very huge plains like the green fields and all. But at the end of their restless journeyings, where do they go and finally rest? And now the poet is wondering that in their restless moving all the time, their journeys which they are doing all the time, do they ever go anywhere and finally come to rest? Do they ever stop? So these are some of the reflections, some of the thoughts of a little child who finds these trains very mysterious. And of course, when you grow up, you come to know about everything about the trains. Even now, when we see a train passing by, we count the number of coaches it has, and still we find them fascinating, especially those trains which are very fast. So this is a nice poem by Humayun Kabir.